Okay, so today we're going to be discussing not necessarily a sense that I rely a lot in, but definitely one that I do enjoy using, and it's the sense of taste. So why do you guys think that it's important to detect flavor?
If something's poisonous?
If something is poisonous, yeah, that's one thing, one reason. What else do you guys think that you need to be able to, why is it important for you to detect flavor?
To enjoy life.
To enjoy life, yeah, absolutely. Think about the nutrition that you get out of food. Aria?
Yeah.
So you can differentiate between fatty foods and non-fatty foods.
Okay, yeah, differentiate between fatty and what else?
Not like foods that contain fat, so I guess you won't obesity issues or other things like that.
Sure, yeah. What about this particular kind of food? What do you think that you are getting out of it?
Grain and protein.
Carbohydrates, exactly. What about this one here? Proteins. And what about this? Vitamins and fat, yes, yeah. So definitely they are important nutrients that we need to be able to detect when we're eating. And we need a balance of all of it in order to have the correct nutrition. And as Em said, definitely something that is very important is we need to be able to detect poison. I mean, now these days, you probably get everything from the grocery store, but, a couple of decades ago, people needed to be able to distinguish between a plant that was good for them and another plant that was poisonous. So there are 5 basic tastes. Do you guys know what they are?
Sour. Sweet.
Sour. Which one is sour?
Lemons.
The lemons, yeah. And sweet, the cupcake. What else?
Bitter. Coffee.
Bitter coffee.
Salty.
Salty, exactly. Do you guys know what this is? What flavor that is?
Savory.
Savory, yeah. I think savory it is. It's umami. Yes. So those are the 5 basic tastes that you will be able to detect in food. And your detect taste basically in your tongue. That's the taste organ here. Here I'm showing you a human tongue, and up here you can see a human tongue, just the real thing, and this is just a diagram. And if you go through the process of sort of exploring your own tongue, right now you will be able to detect tiny little bumps in it. And those bumps are called papillae. And within one papillae, if we do a zoom in of it, you have hundreds of taste buds. And these taste buds, humans have approximately 10,000 taste buds. So if we count the taste buds in your tongue, that's about what we will get, about 10,000 of them. And each taste bud contains approximately between 50 to 100 taste receptors. So if you do the math, you have a lot of taste receptors in your tongue that will be able to distinguish the different flavors of those, the food that I showed you in the previous slides. And if we take a closer look to that papillae, you will see that they are the taste receptor cells. And these taste receptor cells, they contain the receptors that allows you to detect taste. And there are different kinds of receptors. For example, there's the salt receptor, you also have the sour receptor, and so on and so forth. Something interesting that at least I find interesting is that those receptor cells, they regenerate. So the lifespan of a taste receptor is around 10 days. So every 10 days, you get new taste receptor cells. And before, if you go online and you look for the tongue or taste map, if you do a Google search, this is one of the images that it will immediately show you, and it's a taste map. And now we know that this taste map is completely wrong. What do you guys think that this is wrong? If you taste the way that they are saying, basically that you can only taste sour on that part of your tongue. Why do you think that would be wrong? Or why do you think it would be detrimental for you?
It's wrong
tell because the majority of the tongue doesn't have, can't sense certain cases, but tastes according to this diagram, whereas the entire tongue has taste buds, so.
They do. So basically, they were saying that all the taste buds or the cells that can taste bitter would be at the back of your tongue. And when you think of bitter, what kind of food do you think it's bitter?
Orange peels.
What do you say, Adara?
Orange peels.
Orange peels.
Coffee.
Coffee. Think about what Em said in that very first slide that I showed you. Poison. Most poisons are bitter. So if you're detecting bitterness at the back of your tongue, I'm sorry, that is already in your throat. By the time that you taste it, it's going down. So you can imagine that it is important for you to be able to detect all sorts of flavors all over your tongue. So if there is something that you don't like, you can just basically spit it out. And as we have been talking throughout all these lectures, there are definitely some animals out there that they just have an amazing ability to taste. And here I'm just showing you 5 of them. Do you remember that number? How many human taste buds do we have? 10,000, exactly. So here, this catfish have 10 times more. It has 100,000 taste buds. But the cool thing about this catfish is that the taste buds are not only in the mouth, they're actually everywhere in the whole animal body. So they can actually detect whatever is in the water. The octopus, I think this is the champion. He has 10,000 taste buds on each sucker, and each of these suckers, in each leg, they have 200 suckers. So if you do the math, they have a huge amount of taste buds in its body. And even though I would think that the cow didn't need that many taste buds, I mean, they're always eating grass around. They have more than us. They have between 25 to 35,000 taste buds. And this butterfly here, the insects, the taste receptors, they're actually in their feet. When they land on any food, they're tasting it before they decide whether or not they're going to put it in their mouth. And the pig here, they actually have more savory. They prefer savory taste more than sweet taste.
Cats, they cannot taste sweet because they eliminate gene which is responsible for sweet taste.
And as Elena said, here the cat, there are some animals that have unusual sense of taste. For example, the cat here, they have no sweet receptors. So if you give your cat candy, the animal will not be able to detect the sweetness of it. Dolphins also have no sweet receptor, and vampire bats, they don't have it because they don't need it. They're just consuming the blood. And I really like this parrot. This is a New Zealand parrot, and for some unexplicable reason, they truly love the taste of rubber. So if you go to New Zealand, you will see this tiny little parrot here eating tires, eating the windshield wipers. They're just gonna be eating all over it. And of course, drivers get pretty mad when they see their cars and they have to change those tires because they were chewing on it. And why do they like it? We don't know. And in dogs, they have an enhanced umami taste. That's why they eat all that, all their food, and they have a decreased saltiness taste. And as soon as they eat, they have an increase in their ability to detect water, and then after a meal, they will drink water. So that's how they do it. Do you guys have any questions?
Umami taste is basically the taste of meat. So when you eat meat, this is umami. So that's why dogs, they have an enhanced umami taste and they really like
Now, guys, do your parents think that you were a picky eater when you were kids? Is there anyone that think the parents thought that you were a picky eater? You want to share it with me? Raise your hand.
I think, right?
I didn't really like carrots back then.
Interesting. Carrots, sweet carrots. What about you, Daniela? What don't you eat? What kind of things you don't like?
I didn't eat like a lot of food when I was little.
You didn't? Do you like it now? You do? Okay. So there may be a reason why there are some people that are picky eaters. And the reason is because they may be what we are going to call super tasters. And these super tasters are people that can detect tastes in an enhanced way compared to other people. And there are things that they dislike. And one of them is bitter food like grapefruit, coffee, green, kale, broccoli. Other people, they can actually detect fatty food or bitterness in alcohol. And then these people, of course, if you don't like bitter, they will like sweets. And they actually like salt because salt can mask bitter taste. And basically anything that is sweet, that's pretty much what they will prefer. And there is a way actually that we can determine whether or not someone is a super taster, and it is called a PTC test. And that's what we are going to be doing today. So the first activity, we're going to give you 4 strips. One of these strips will contain an ingredient that if you are a super taster, you will be able to taste it. And we will know whether or not you can taste it. So basically you're going to split into 2 groups. And then after we do that test, something that scientists, we have to do, over and over again, is that when we get a result, we need to corroborate it. And one way to corroborate whether or not you're a super taster, once you determine it based on that PTC test, is we are going to count, or you guys are going to count, the amount of bumps in your tongue. And here I'm showing you an image. Basically what you're going to do is we have some blue dye in the back. You're going to dye your tongue with your blue dye. And then these bumps here are going to basically, there's going to be some contrast and you're going to be able to see it better. At that point, your classmate will start counting in a specific area how many bumps you have. And basically a non-taster, someone that cannot detect taste at all, will have less than 15 papillae in that region. A normal person will have between 15 to 35 papillae, meaning bumps in your tongue. And a super taster are going to have above 35 papillae in their tongue. And just to keep in mind, super tasters, they can detect flavor 3 times stronger than just an average person. An interesting fact about super tasters is that if you look from a genetic point of view in the population, super tasters are 25% of the population. Regular tasters or medium tasters are 50%, and people that cannot detect flavor at all, they represent 25%. And in some particular ethnic groups, these numbers can vary. And you can imagine some advantages of being able to detect bitter flavors in a way that is just stronger than anyone else.